Meanwhile, the cost of living crisis is changing the way we shop, and a firm of retail analysts say we are increasingly turning back to supermarket loyalty schemes to access discounts and save money. The schemes have changed in recent years because once I suppose they started really with discounts and then they got a bit more sophisticated. So you were collecting points to exchange for experiences such as days out. They've now gone back to basics. They're basically now offering in-store deals or personalised deals that the store thinks you will appreciate. So a meal deal at Tesco, including a sandwich, crisps and a drink, costs £3.90. If you purchase the deal using one of the supermarket's club cards, it's not £3.90, it's £3.40, and so on. Tesco isn't the only supermarket doing this, of course. Morrison's, Lidl, Sainsbury's all offer similar schemes where you can access promotions by scanning your card or app when you pay. Increasingly, you almost feel left out if you're not doing it. With the number of in-store deals for non-loyalty card holders in supermarkets falling sharply, many of us now rely on these schemes. I'm wondering if you do. Maybe the discounts help you stick to your weekly budget and you think these schemes are great. Perhaps you've recently signed up to your supermarket's loyalty program to keep the cost of your weekly shop down. Or maybe you say they are not getting my data no matter what discounts they're offering. Do email vine@bbc.co.uk. Please include your phone number when you do so. Text us 88291 or WhatsApp us on the long number 08000 288 291, which you should only have to input into your smartphone once. Okay, a couple of real experts for you now. Firstly, Laura Pomfret is founder of the app called Financiel. Brilliant name, which helps women stay on top of their finances. And let's talk about this first, Laura, from the shopper's point of view. This is, I suppose, it's getting pretty direct now. You have the card and you get money off, right?
Definitely, shoppers are having to work harder than ever to make their pounds go further at a time when obviously we talk about inflation being high and the shopping basket high. So you hope that you go in and you use your loyalty card now to get a discount rather than collecting lots of points to pay for nice things later.
Yeah, so the nice things later were always a bit frustrating, weren't they? Because the really, really nice things, like a week's abroad free or something, was almost unreachable. And you'd end up with prizes you didn't necessarily want.
Definitely, but there was a gamification element to it. People do like to collect points and you could have swapped them, and you still can, but just for less value, to do things like, Merlin days out. So we're approaching the summer holidays. You could go take the kids and save up all year and maybe use your reward points for nice experiences or restaurants. So
do you think people prefer it at where it's going now, which is essentially you go in and you get a discount on ham?
I think the deal that you read out, Jeremy, about the meal deal is a real help. If you think about workers commuting, being able to grab a meal deal for that number, it certainly incentivizes you to get a loyalty card. But I think some of the problems with the discounts is it tends to be on really random things in stores. So, your regular shop, I'm not sure Lurpak butter is going to go in the club card deal, for example, every week. And that's what people need rather than your Pringles on the corner that's got a big discount.
The one I seem to use where I've got the loyalty card, just because it's the nearest supermarket to me, they end up sending me vouchers through the post. But they all they say is if you spend £60, we'll give you £8 off. So it's quite an imprecise form of reward.
It really is, and it just shows you how much effort is needed by the consumer to benefit. And I'm a massive fan of loyalty schemes, but it really does take a lot of time to navigate it. I mean, so people in our community talk about couponing in America, and you end up getting a loads for not a lot if you really put effort into it. But quite frankly, we're all quite busy, and we just like a really good prices and really good discounts to be able to buy our regular shop, please. Do
you think shoppers are more loyal because of these cards, or do we actually end up having 4 or 5 cards in our wallets and purses?
I think people are more loyal, especially when some of those combination deals where it could be petrol stations or other places where you can collect certain loyalty points. So I think we are. But I think the press, today reflecting that, I think Tesco had dropped the value by a third that the points can buy, and the rest of them, Boots earlier, Sainsbury's, they've all done it. So it's all very similar. I think it gets people's back up, and I think at a time when people are struggling, it's not nice to hear that their points are worth less. So I think there is a loyalty element, but it may be depleting.
Thank you so much, Laura Pomfret, founder of Financiel, the app that helps women stay on top of their finances. Let's talk about the supermarket's point of view with Natalie Berg, who's a retail analyst and the founder of NBK Retail. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Jeremy.
I'd heard that supermarkets like Lidl and Aldi, the so-called budget supermarkets, were getting squeezed themselves because the ones in the middle, Tesco, Sainsbury's, were dropping their prices to almost the same level.
Yeah, the discounters like Aldi and Lidl have been the real winners. They've been scooping up trade for, well over a decade now, and especially during the cost of living crisis when everyone is genuinely looking to stretch their budgets and get value for money. But we've also seen Lidl actually launch its own loyalty app. So it's interesting how, even the discount retailers now are recognizing the need to, keep up with the times, invest in the technology, and Laura touched on gamification. I think that's absolutely part of it as well.
So tell us why supermarkets are changing their loyalty schemes.
Well, I think it boils down to two things. Firstly, lack of relevance. I would actually disagree with Laura. I think customer loyalty is dead. I think that the days of being loyal to one and only one supermarket are very much a thing of the past. And that's just because we have so much choice today, from the big supermarkets to the discounters to the online players. Shopping habits have evolved dramatically in recent years, but until recently, loyalty schemes actually hadn't really changed that much. So I think that's a big factor. And also, as we just touched on, the cost of living crisis is a big factor as well. Food price inflation is still stubbornly lingering around the 15% mark. And I think from a supermarket's perspective, they recognize the need to offer value for money. But we all know that it's not sustainable to just keep cutting prices. We've seen this race to the bottom in the past, and it doesn't end well. So I think from their perspective, there has been this concerted effort in the industry to move away from all of the noise, the loud, busy promotions that used to dominate our shelves, the 3 for 2s and the buy one, get one free promotions. And I think things have gotten a lot more simple, a lot more honest, a lot more consistent in terms of pricing. And just very briefly, where loyalty cards come into all this, well, these revamped schemes are enabling retailers to offer customers value for money, but in a more targeted, more personalized, and certainly more productive way.
Okay, just on the loyalty cards, we're in a moment where we're all thinking about data and privacy and all of that in lots and lots of dimensions. We're not yet ready for people to know everything there is to know about us. Are loyalty cards getting a bit stuck on that thought that I don't necessarily want, someone else to know every single item in my shopping basket every week?
Yeah, well, it's a trade-off, isn't it? The data that's collected from these schemes enables retailers to glean a huge amount of insight into how shoppers are behaving, both in store and online, what they're buying, what they're not buying, who else might be in their household. I mean, the list just goes on. But the trade-off is that they can then use that data to offer very personalized, very relevant promotions. They can adapt their ranges in store, they can adjust pricing, and so on and so forth. So I think it is a trade-off that, on the whole, shoppers are pretty comfortable with.
Thanks so much, Natalie Berg from NBK Retail. We're talking about loyalty cards back in fashion, changing a bit. Do you swear by yours?
It's the ultimate.